What if humans never needed sleep? Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing something subtle but impossible has happened. You feel alert, clear, focused, hours pass, then an entire night, and the heaviness never comes, no yawning. No fading thoughts, no pull toward a bed, the sun rises again, and nothing changes. The world is still built around bedrooms, alarm clocks, late nights, and early mornings, but you are no longer part of that rhythm. You do not need rest, you do not lose clarity, you do not drift into unconsciousness for a third of your life. At first, it feels like freedom, an extra 8 hours, then another, then an entire lifetime reclaimed. But something familiar has quietly broken, and the consequences are about to unfold. The first thing that breaks is time itself. Cities stay awake, not metaphorically, but literally. Lights no longer dim because no one needs darkness. Offices stretch past midnight without exhaustion setting in, shops never close, not because of demand, but because there is no reason to stop. The idea of night shifts disappears, every shift is the same. Hospitals change overnight, doctors no longer hand off patients because of fatigue. Emergency rooms lose one of their greatest risks, human error caused by tired minds. Accidents related to drowsy driving vanish almost instantly. But something else begins to strain. People realize that rest was never just biological, it was social, it was a shared pause that synchronized humanity. Without sleep, schedules fracture, some people work endlessly, others explore. Others fall behind, not because they are tired, but because they are overwhelmed by a world that never stops moving. And within days, a new question emerges: if no one needs sleep, when does life slow down? Weeks pass, and productivity explodes, research accelerates, construction never pauses. Entire cities begin operating in continuous motion, with no daily reset, but psychology starts to shift. Without sleep, there is no natural boundary between effort and recovery. People do not feel exhausted, but they begin to feel saturated, thoughts stack without clearing. Emotions linger longer than they should, arguments stretch, stress accumulates without the nightly emotional reset that once softened it. Families change, there is no bedtime routine, no shared silence at the end of the day. Children grow up without lullabies or stories told in the dark. The concept of night loses its intimacy and becomes just another lighting condition. Nature reacts too. Artificial light floods ecosystems permanently, nocturnal animals lose their advantage. Migratory patterns break, plants that rely on darkness for hormonal cycles begin to behave unpredictably. Over generations, culture reshapes itself, art loses its relationship with dreams. Language slowly forgets metaphors tied to sleep. We stop saying sleep on it or dream big because dreaming no longer exists. And yet, humans do not become superhuman, they become something stranger. Sleep was never just about rest. Biologically, sleep is when the brain reorganizes itself. Memories are stabilized, emotional experiences are processed, neural connections are pruned and reinforced. The brain literally washes itself, clearing metabolic waste that accumulates during waking life. If humans never needed sleep, this means one of two things must be true. Either the brain has evolved a way to perform all of these processes while fully conscious, or it has abandoned some of them entirely. The first option requires radical changes in brain architecture. Memory consolidation would need to occur in parallel with perception. Emotional regulation would have to happen without disengaging from the world. Consciousness itself would become layered, processing the past while living the present. The second option is darker. Without sleep-driven maintenance, the brain would accumulate noise, thoughts would interfere with each other. Emotional responses would lose precision, creativity, which often relies on the strange recombination that happens during dreams, would slowly flatten. Sleep evolved not because organisms were lazy, but because complex nervous systems needed downtime to stay coherent. Removing sleep means rewriting the rules of cognition itself. The most common assumption is that no sleep means more productivity, but productivity is not linear. Sleep deprivation today shows us something important. People often feel fine long before their performance collapses. Judgment, impulse control, and emotional accuracy degrade silently. In a world without sleep, humans might never feel tired, but that does not mean they would always function well. The absence of fatigue does not guarantee clarity, it only removes the warning signal. Another misconception is that sleep is wasted time. In reality, sleep is when the brain earns the right to be awake again. It is maintenance, not absence. Removing it does not simply free hours, it demands replacement systems that may never fully replicate what was lost. A sleepless humanity gains time but loses rhythm. Without nights, society loses its natural punctuation marks. There is no shared ending to the day, no collective pause. Life becomes continuous, but continuity is not the same as balance. Inequality deepens. Those who can endure constant engagement rise faster. Those who need psychological boundaries struggle, even if their biology no longer demands rest. Ethical questions emerge. Should people be allowed to work endlessly? Should children be protected from infinite schedules? Should darkness itself be preserved as a human right? Even death changes meaning. A life without sleep is longer in lived experience, not more years, but more moments. And that abundance makes time feel both richer and strangely less valuable. This thought experiment reveals something uncomfortable. Sleep is not a flaw. It is a feature that protects meaning, it forces limits, it creates cycles, it reminds us that constant motion is not sustainable, even when it feels productive. As technology pushes us toward a world that never stops, sleep remains one of the last biological boundaries we cannot fully override. And that boundary may be what keeps us human. The desire to eliminate sleep is really a desire to escape limits, but limits are often what shape purpose. A world without sleep would be brighter, faster, and louder. It would also be thinner in ways we might not notice until something essential was gone. Perhaps the question is not what if humans never needed sleep. Perhaps the real question is why evolution insisted we do. If you enjoyed this thought experiment, take a moment to like the video and subscribe for more episodes where a single change reshapes everything. Share your thoughts in the comments. Would a sleepless world feel like freedom, or like something quietly missing? And if there is another what if you want explored next, let me know below, because sometimes, imagining a different world is how we finally understand our own.